Chapter 321 The Mu Family's Fortuitous Encounter. The Black Tower Token. Excuse me, sir, do you have any questions? Elder Xing asked. Upon seeing the other party, one could sense the ethereal aura emanating from them. This was a very important client. Mu Jinbao nodded and then asked his question. Can I transfer the prize I won? Transfer. But it's a reward from the exchange tower drawn on the second floor. Elder Xing was taken aback and looked at the person in front of him. Seeing the other party nod, Elder Xing was momentarily stumped by the question. It never imagined that, in principle, once a cultivator draws a reward, they could simply go to the exchange tower to select the item. Wait a moment. Old Xing closed his eyes and told Zhou Yun about the situation. On the other side, Zhou Yun was standing at the bow of the Pengyun merchant ship, looking around, intending to choose a suitable place to dock the Pengyun merchant ship. Suddenly, his expression shifted slightly as he received a message from Elder Xing. That's another one of those clever little ideas. They really know how to come up with something. Zhou Yun shook his head helplessly and disappeared from the spot. The matter of opening the Pengyun merchant ship had to be put on hold until the current matters were dealt with. Upon arriving in the City of Desire, they encountered Zhou Yun. Old Xing rose to greet him. Greetings, master. He then pointed to Mu Jinbao. This is the question raised by this guest. Mu Jinbao bowed to Zhou Yun, looking at him with a nervous expression, his hands clenched tightly. This matter was so important to the Mu family that he was on tenterhooks. Zhou Yun looked at Mu Jinbao and smiled slightly. How did you come up with the idea of transferring the reward eligibility? Zhou Yun asked, also curious about the other party's thinking. Mu Jinbao took a breath and slowly said, the main reason is that I don't need the 8th level reward. I was thinking that perhaps low-level cultivators don't need the high-level reward, and high-level cultivators don't need the low-level reward. If we could exchange them, everyone would be satisfied. Zhou Yun nodded thoughtfully. Okay, take out the Pengyun Token and let Elder Xing use the temporary Pengyun Token to redeem the reward. Really? Is it possible? Mu Jinbao almost jumped up in excitement. He quickly took out the Pengyun Token and politely said to the old man, Thank you for your trouble, Elder Xing. While exchanging items with Elder Xing, Zhou Yun looked at the plump old man with great interest. Which faction in the central region are you from? I am the patriarch of the Mu family. Seeing Zhou Yun's puzzled expression, Mu Jinbao explained a few more words. It is Wanbage, which is composed of 3 major families. The Mu family, Taixu family, and Ming family. Oh, Wanbage, I haven't missed a single issue of your Astrological Mysteries report. Zhou Yun hadn't expected the old man to be from Wanbage. It seems that the yin-yang immortal essence, which was the highlight of the last auction, was obtained by the other party. Wanbage is indeed very wealthy. Then congratulations on the upcoming birth of a celestial-level expert in your Mu family. Upon hearing this, Mu Jinbao gave a wry smile. He immediately stopped hiding the truth and recounted the events of Wanbage's split and the withdrawal of the Mu and Taixu families. Of course, this also includes the matter of the yin-yang immortal essence being stolen. Oh, Ancestor Minghua? Is that the old man with the white beard? Yes, it's that treacherous old man, Mu Jinbao said angrily. Zhou Yun looked at the other person with a faint smile on his face. Leaving Wanbage may not be a bad thing for you. Zhou Yun did not tell the other party that Ancestor Minghua possessed the bloodline of the Void Demon clan. He only hinted at it briefly. In his opinion, the female cultivator with the rainbow spirit body was more intelligent and decisive. Upon hearing Zhou Yun's words, Mu Jinbao frowned slightly. I wanted to ask a few more questions, but Elder Xing had already handed the Pengyun Token back. Guest, this is your Pengyun Token, a temporary token. Each token grants you 1 opportunity to go to the exchange tower and select an item. Please keep it safe. After putting away the Pengyun Token, Mu Jinbao looked at the hundreds of tokens floating in front of him. These tokens were the hope of the Mu family and the opportunity for the Mu family to rise. Elder Xing explained again, Each token has corresponding information, which guests can check themselves. Thank you. Mu Jinbao put all the tokens away. Seeing this, Zhou Yun asked, what do you think would be a good name for this kind of temporary token? How about we call it the Ascension Order? Mu Jinbao suggested. But Zhou Yun only glanced at him indifferently. Ascension tokens. There are more than just immortal level items in the Pengyun space. Mu Jinbao smiled awkwardly, his face flushed, and he stopped talking. He naturally understood the unspoken meaning in the other party's words. As a celestial level expert, his knowledge was far too shallow. Fortunately, the other party phrased it tactfully, saving him face. Let's call it the Black Tower Token. It's ordinary yet extraordinary. What do you think, Master? Zhou Yun pondered for a moment, then nodded. Then I'll leave this place to you. I have other things to attend to. Don't worry, Master, there's no need to worry about this place. Elder Xing nodded in response. Seeing that Zhou Yun was about to leave, Mu Jinbao quickly called out to stop him. Young Master Zhou, wait a moment. I want to open a shop, but I don't know how to do it. Just ask Elder Xing, Zhou Yun said before leaving. He turned to Elder Xing, smiled awkwardly, and cupped his hands, saying, Then I'll trouble Elder Xing to explain it to me. No need for formalities, guests. He then pointed to the distance and said, Guests can go there and choose for themselves, then come back and tell me what they have chosen. Is it that simple? Are there any other requirements, such as rent? No rent. What? Mu Jinbao looked bewildered and shocked. How is it possible to open a shop anywhere you want without paying rent? As a businessman, his intuition told him that things couldn't be that simple. He changed the subject. What are the restrictions? Everything is free, but Pengyun merchant ship will take half of the shop's profits. Upon hearing this, Mu Jinbao breathed a sigh of relief. This was more like it. Pengyun merchant shipping offered such favorable conditions. How could they not want to profit from them? Half the profit may seem like a lot, but it doesn't actually mean a loss for the cultivator. It's all about profit. If you don't make any money, then you don't have to pay anything. It was as if they had guessed what Mu Jinbao was thinking. Old Xing reminded them, if you wish to open a shop, please do so as soon as possible. The shops in the City of Desire are subject to an elimination system. Shops that rank below 1,000 in terms of profit will be eliminated. Mu Jinbao suddenly realized, thinking to himself, there are indeed limitations. This is indeed a good solution. He then asked, so, can't the eliminated cultivators open shops in the City of Desire? It's not possible within 100 years. And the City of Desire also settles its accounts in a 100-year period. There are no restrictions on the scope of business operations for cultivators? No. Chapter 322 The Mu Family Shop, Desire. In this City of Desires, the best located shops are naturally those near this square. Mu Jinbao looked toward the altar in the center of the square. That's the entrance to the City of Desire. All the monks emerge from there. If the Mu family wants to rely on the Pengyun merchant ships, the closer they are to the Black Tower, the better. The Pengyun Token is truly an opportunity for the Mu family. Mu Jinbao gripped the Pengyun Token tightly, thinking to himself. Looking at the black stone shop near the Black Tower, he made a decision. With the help of Elder Xing, he then bound the location of that shop, and from then on, it belonged to him. No matter what he does, Pengyun merchant ships will not interfere. The premise is that it will not harm the interests of Pengyun merchant ship. Arriving at the black stone shop, Mu Jinbao looked up at the 3-story stone building, which covered an area of about 1,000 square meters, and was filled with excitement. If it weren't for the Pengyun Token, which gave them a head start, the Mu family certainly wouldn't have been able to choose such a good location. Stepping onto the stairs, I gripped the door with both hands and pushed it open. A dimly lit space appeared before me, shrouded in mist. Suddenly, the Pengyun Token in his hand began to flash, and a look of understanding appeared in Mu Jinbao's eyes. Old Xing had told him earlier that there might be a pleasant surprise once he entered the shop. What's the surprise? Picking up the Pengyun token, Mu Jinbao opened the message, and his expression suddenly changed. The interior space can even adjust itself. TSK Tisk. After reading the information, Mu Jinbao couldn't help but admire Pengyun merchant ship's thoughtfulness. If you want to continue to increase the store area, you only need to invest in Pengyun points expansion, which costs 10 million Pengyun points per square meter. And shrinking it is completely free. After all, not all shops need a large area. Sometimes, in order to create a sense of crowding and make people think that there are many types of shops, it is better to have a smaller area. However, my Mu family will surely become the #1 shop in the City of Desire. Mu Jinbao's eyes flashed with a burning light, full of confidence. Looking around, he pondered silently. The first floor sells redemption qualifications for floors 4 and below, the second floor sells redemption qualifications for floors 5 and 6, and the third floor can be converted into an auction venue to auction off redemption qualifications for floors 7 and above. After a moment's thought, I made up my mind. He then activated the Pengyun token and left the City of Desire. We need to bring this matter back to the tribe and discuss it thoroughly with everyone to come up with the best solution. Moreover, he was also a little anxious. He thought of the other two families of Wanbeige, the Taixu family and the Ming family. The Mu family was only able to take the lead because they possessed the Pengyun token. However, once Pengyun merchant ships opens up the City of Desire to the outside world, the advantages that the Mu family possesses will vanish. Before that, it is essential to promote the shop's reputation and credibility, and to create a deep impression on the cultivators. Even if competitors emerge later, they will not shake the foundation of the Moki family. Mu Jinbao has a deep understanding of the ways of doing business. After Mu Jinbao left, a person with a dazed expression walked out of the Tower of Desire, his figure swaying as he walked. This person was another immortal-level being, Ancestor Pengyun. Why? He murmured over and over again. Ancestor Pengyun drew a total of 1 billion Pengyun points, and the highest reward he could draw was only a 5th-tier reward. This made him doubt himself. Am I really not blessed with good fortune? He then shook his head. I am the Crimson Flame Divine Phoenix, a divine beast of heaven and earth. How could I not have good fortune by my side? He turned to look at the Black Tower. This place must be against my destiny. I'll go back and get reinforcements. Thinking this, he activated the Pengyun token and left the Pengyun space. At the bow of the Pengyun merchant ship, Zhou Yun stood suspended in mid-air, gazing at the surrounding void. Let's do it right here. Uncle Zhou stood quietly to the side and watched. This place was probably the center of the eastern region. Spatial rifts flashed through the surrounding void from time to time, which were probably traces left by the war 1,000,000 years ago. If a cultivator were to accidentally wander in, they would be instantly torn to pieces. He wanted to see how the young master would use his amazing skills to carve out a territory exclusively for the Pengyun merchant ship in this dangerous place. Rise! As Zhou Yun finished speaking, all was quiet, with only the faint sound of rushing water in the air. Just as Uncle Zhou was wondering, a wave surged into the sky, like a giant water dragon soaring into the heavens, roaring and coiling around the Pengyun merchant ship. Uncle Zhou was shocked and looked down. A powerful column of water lifted the Pengyun merchant ship high into the air, making it stand upright in the void. Go! With a light wave of his arm, Zhou Yun caused the swirling water dragon to split into 9 smaller water dragons, which surged outwards in all directions. Wherever it passed, it left behind a waterway thousands of meters wide, stretching across the sky and extending into the distance. Young master, what is this? Uncle Zhou stared at the road formed from solidified water, which seemed to pierce through the void and extended to an unknown destination, a look of confusion on his face. At the eastern border, cultivators only need to travel by water to bring them to the Pengyun merchant ship. Why not just teleport them in directly? In Uncle Zhou's opinion, traveling by water would certainly take a considerable amount of time. With the young master's abilities, he can surely teleport cultivators directly to the Pengyun merchant ship when they set foot on the water. Wouldn't that be much more convenient? A playful smile appeared on Zhou Yun's face as he turned to look at Uncle Zhou. I just felt that this was too simple and wanted to add some fun. Seeing that Uncle Zhou was puzzled, Zhou Yun did not explain immediately. The spiritual energy around him fluctuated, causing the entire Pengyun merchant ship to sway slightly, and a thick gray mist spread out, rapidly spreading in all directions. The waterway, which was originally clearly visible, suddenly became faintly visible. Zhou Yun did not stop immediately. He stretched out his right hand, and his palm flashed with light. One after another, illusory black tokens appeared, each engraved with a giant black tower. Different numbers are on the back. They are 10,000, 100,000, and 1,000,000, respectively. Countless black tokens surrounded Zhou Yun, shooting into the void as he waved his arm. What is this? Uncle Zhou blinked, completely unable to understand his young master's thoughts. This is an opportunity that Pengyun merchant ship gave them. Zhou Yun looked at the void shrouded in grey mist. If someone were looking down from above at this moment, they would surely find that the entire eastern region was divided into 3 colors: light grey, dark grey, and muted grey. I have divided the eastern region into 3 levels: outer layer, middle layer, and inner layer. The outer layer mainly contains black tower tokens worth 10,000, with a few tokens of other amounts. The middle layer mainly contains 100,000, and the inner layer mainly contains 1,000,000. Cultivators can choose to fight or not. If they are unwilling to take risks, they can stay on the waterway and be safe, but they will miss out on opportunities. Uncle Zhou nodded. The journey to the Pengyun merchant ship is unlikely to be peaceful. Once the news of the Black Tower Order spreads, this long silent eastern region will likely be stained with the blood of cultivators. Chapter 323 Pengyun opens. Strange grey mist. At the same time, the strange phenomena caused by the Pengyun merchant ship naturally attracted the attention of others. In a sea area near the eastern region, a fishing boat drifts on the sea. As the mist gradually rose, someone offered a suggestion. The weather is changing too fast. Should we head back quickly? The others nodded in agreement. As people who depend on the sea for their livelihood, they all held a sense of awe towards it. Especially in the eastern region, spatial turbulence, spiritual energy storms, and abnormal tides. As fishermen, they dared not venture too deep, for the eastern region was never short of strange legends. These cultivators were only at the foundation establishment stage, and their leader was only at the golden core stage. Naturally, they were unaware of the Great War that destroyed the eastern region 1,000,000 years ago. However, the eastern region is indeed not suitable for cultivators to live in. However, it is precisely because there are no large-scale activities by cultivators that the eastern region is rich in resources. As long as one is willing to risk going out to sea, one is bound to reap rich rewards. The golden core cultivator standing at the bow of the ship was Niu Hao, the leader of the group. Looking around at the sea fog, his brows furrowed. Some people noticed Niu Hao's unusual expression and gathered around to ask him questions. "Boss, have you discovered something?" Niu Hao shook his head slightly, his voice solemn. "Have you ever seen grey fog?" Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned. They had previously thought it was just ordinary sea fog, as they had seen sea fog many times before and had not found it strange. Now that Niu Hao had pointed it out, everyone realized what was strange. Someone said nervously, their voice trembling, "Maybe we should leave quickly? Who knows what strange things are happening in the eastern region this time." "Okay, retreat." Niu Hao waved his hand, directing everyone to take immediate action. When faced with the unknown, it's best to try to escape. In the eastern region, whether they were fishing, hunting demons, or cultivators living on nearby islands, they all quickly made a decision and began to evacuate. After traveling for an unknown amount of time, a cultivator exclaimed in surprise, "Boss, look up there." The crowd looked in the direction of the sound and saw a road thousands of meters wide, formed from the solidified waves, stretching across the sky and disappearing into the distance. Everyone swallowed hard, looking up at the waterway where ripples occasionally appeared, and where monsters and fish swam. What's this? This is also what everyone is thinking at this moment. A waterway has inexplicably appeared in the sky above the eastern region, which is very strange. Niu Hao focused his mind, just about to release his divine sense to check if there was any danger. However, the moment his consciousness left his body, he sensed something strange and his expression changed drastically. How could that be? Having not used his divine sense before, he had not yet noticed the strangeness of this anomaly. Looking at the grey mist drifting around him, Niu Hao's face darkened. "Boss, what's wrong?" Niu Hao did not answer, but looked at everyone and said in a low voice, "Release your divine senses and tell me your feelings." The crowd was suspicious, but they did not disobey Niu Hao's orders and released their divine senses. Then, everyone's expression changed drastically, and an uneasy atmosphere began to spread. What exactly happened? Why is my divine sense suppressed by about 10 times, only able to extend a few meters? I don't know, and releasing one's divine sense also consumes a lot of energy. Hearing the discussion, Niu Hao nodded thoughtfully, indicating that he wasn't the only one who felt this way. Go quickly. Niu Hao was extremely decisive, and he personally took control of the boat, fleeing at high speed. The others also helped out. They were just a group of Foundation establishment cultivators. Regardless of the situation in the eastern region, it's none of their business. They should just go outside and wait for the others to send back news. Suddenly, someone in the crowd exclaimed in surprise. What's that over there? Everyone looked in the direction of the sound, but found nothing. There's nothing there? Are you sure you're not mistaken? The man, startled by what was said, began to doubt himself, rubbing his eyes and saying, "I must have seen wrong." After the fishing boat sailed away, a grey fog gathered not far away, and a phantom black token appeared faintly, slowly drifting in the grey fog. The cultivator's divine sense was greatly restricted in the grey fog, making it indeed difficult to detect the existence of the Black Tower token. Of course, not all cultivators were as cautious as Niu Hao and his group. Driven by curiosity, many cultivators stood on the waterway and were carried by the waterway to the depths of the eastern region. The surrounding fog grew thicker, and everyone began to feel uneasy. However, now that they have arrived deep in the eastern region, even with their strength, they dare not easily flee. The occasional roars of monstrous beasts around them filled them with terror, and many of them were already beginning to regret their actions. What was initially thought to be a great opportunity has now become uncertain for everyone, leaving them with nothing but endless prayers. News of the anomaly in the eastern region spread rapidly. At this moment, near the border of the eastern region, a large number of cultivators gathered, their expressions shifting as they gazed at the sea shrouded in grey mist. No one dared to be the first to rush in. Some speculate it's the emergence of ancient ruins. Others guess it's the discovery of rare and precious treasures. After all, the eastern region, being a region destroyed millions of years ago, does indeed contain a considerable number of hidden relics, and news has spread that many cultivators in the cultivation world have received inheritances within the sea area. The eastern region, devoid of human cultivators, is a natural treasure trove. Within the entire Xian cultivation world, the eastern region is undoubtedly the most likely place to find high-grade natural treasures. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared in the distance, and several figures gathered together. They looked at each other. No abnormalities were found, only grey fog. There is a waterway several thousand meters wide 100 miles to the right, which extends into the void. I dare not explore it rashly. The waterway, let's go take a look. The other cultivators below also quietly followed. This wasn't the only place where waterways were discovered. Meanwhile, cultivators in various places discovered the waterway, and some looked fearful and dared not go forward. Some people want to take a chance and carve out a path for themselves on the road to immortality. Unbeknownst to them, the entire eastern region was surrounded by 9 waterways. However, the eastern region is too vast, making it indeed difficult to discover a second path. Courageous cultivators are few and far between. Most cultivators value their lives highly, and the crowd gathered in place to wait quietly. We await the first group to bring back good news. News about the eastern regions spread quickly. The Mu family patriarch, who had just left the Pengyun space and returned to his residence, had not yet had time to convene a meeting of his clansmen. The message from the clansmen was transmitted through the communication jade talisman. Eastern regions, grey fog, waterways. Mu Jinbao looked puzzled, thinking of the grey mist space in the City of Desire. The grey fog was so symbolic that it immediately reminded him of the Pengyun merchant ship. It seems the City of Desire has opened to the public, and the location is in the eastern region, Mu Jinbao muttered to himself. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he made a very good decision. Chapter 324 The Mu family's decision. Qingyu's arrival. Mu Jinbao immediately ordered all his clansmen to be summoned. A huge treasure ship carrying the Mu family sailed towards the eastern region. In a conference room on the top floor of the treasure ship, dozens of people sat in orderly rows, their eyes looking up at the person above. They were filled with doubt, wondering why their ancestor had summoned everyone. However, as the founder of the Mu family, no one dared to question any of the ancestors' decisions. Mu Jinbao looked around at everyone and said in a slightly authoritative voice, "Everyone here is a core member of the Mu family, and you should all be quite clear about the current situation of the Mu family." Upon hearing this, everyone's expression darkened. One of the hot-tempered men angrily exclaimed, "That damned Ming family! They have absolutely no sense of loyalty. If I catch them red-handed, humph." The crowd's eyes flickered, and no one dared to object, seemingly agreeing with what the man had said. Mu Jinbao looked up. "All right, we will naturally settle the score with the Ming family. The reason I brought everyone here today is that I found an opportunity for the Mu family to rise, and perhaps even reach a higher level." Upon hearing this, everyone immediately perked up. They had absolute trust in the patriarch who had single-handedly brought the Mu family to its current status. Seeing everyone's gaze, Mu Jinbao smiled and turned to look at the young man beside him. "We owe this opportunity to Qing Yun. If he hadn't brought back the Pengyun Token, our Mu family would never have seized this opportunity." Mu Qingyun smiled shyly. "This is all what a junior should do. The Mu family is where it is today thanks to our ancestor." The others chimed in. "That's right, it's all thanks to our ancestor. Qingyun's success today is all thanks to our ancestor. It's all thanks to the ancestor's excellent teaching that Qingyun has become so successful." Mu Jinbao waved his hand, interrupting everyone. "Qingyun has made contributions." He then looked at everyone and said, "Pengyun merchant ship has made a big move. I have decided that from now on, the Mu family will develop around Pengyun merchant ship." Mu Jinbao then recounted what had happened on the Pengyun merchant ship and looked at everyone. "Now everyone should think carefully and come up with the best solution. Our Mu family must seize the initiative." The entire conference room was immediately filled with the sounds of conversation. In a secluded place, Qingyu sent a message back to the mountain gate, instructing the elders to disperse the Luohe sect, and then went to this place where the ancestor had taken refuge. "Ancestor, are you feeling any better?" Qingyu asked, her eyes filled with worry as she looked at Wei Wuhe, whose face was pale. Wei Wuhe shook his head with a wry smile. "The injuries from the tribulation are not so easy to heal, especially since I was already injured before." He didn't continue speaking, to avoid causing Qingyu too much worry. He knew his own body best. The foundation of his Tao was crumbling little by little. Perhaps before long, he would fall into the state of a mortal with no cultivation. That's why I felt heartbroken when I saw Qingyu self-destruct the sword that fell into the river. He's already a cripple. Using the sect's most precious treasure to save his life would be a complete waste. Ancestor, rest assured. Qingyu's clear and cold voice rang out, his stubbornness revealing unwavering confidence. Luohe sect will surely stand at the pinnacle of Shenten. Wei Wuhe glanced at the woman beside him, his eyes flashing. He never doubted it, he firmly believed. As long as Qingyu is here, the Luohe sect has a future. "Rest well, I'll go to Pengyun space to exchange for healing pills for you." No, don't you still need Pengyun points to exchange for that item? Wei Wuhe quickly stopped him, as his injuries could not be treated with ordinary pills. At least a 9th-tier supreme treasure would be needed. Now is the time when we need Pengyun, so how can we waste it on him? He still didn't know what Qingyu wanted to exchange for, but since Qingyu was so confident, the item must be of a high level. Qingyu shook her head and didn't say anything more. The Zhongjie River Heart is a celestial grade item, requiring far too many Pengyun points. Even with all the frantic buying and selling of items from the Pengyun merchant ships during this period, the Pengyun points earned were just a drop in the ocean compared to the Zhongjie River Heart. The main reason is the restriction on Pengyun merchant ships, which prevent the resale of high-level items. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so difficult to collect Pengyun points. Qingyu was mistaken. If it weren't for the restrictions imposed by the Pengyun merchant ship, the high-level items would probably have been exchanged by others long ago. How can ordinary cultivators compete with top-tier forces like Chihuang Mountain and Wanbao Pavilion? Just as Qingyu activated the Pengyun Token, a look of surprise appeared on his cold face. Why is there an extra black tower pattern? What's wrong? Wei Wuhe asked. Qingyu handed over the Pengyun Token. After activation, 2 patterns, one black and one white, appeared on it, as if you had to choose one. Wei Wuhe also noticed the changes in the Pengyun Order. The white pattern still features the familiar Pengyun merchant ship, while the black pattern depicts an unfamiliar giant tower. I don't understand. Perhaps something has changed about the Pengyun merchant ship during this time. He placed the Pengyun Token in Qingyu's hand. The Pengyun merchant ship is such a mysterious place that it is beyond our comprehension. Ancestor, wait for me. Qingyu chose the white pattern, as she still needed to exchange for healing medicine as soon as possible to stabilize her ancestor's injuries. As for the black pattern, I'll look at it when I have time. A moment later, Qingyu's figure disappeared from the spot. Looking at the spot where Qingyu disappeared, Wei Wuhe sighed softly. Oh, silly child. Qingyu is silly, but adorably silly. Sometimes, Wei Wuhe wished the child would be even more ruthless and cut off the burden of the Luohe sect with a single sword strike. Slowly closing my eyes, I felt as if I had instantly lost all my energy. Like a rotten stone, it sits here alone. In the Pengyun space, Qingyu looked at the familiar place and breathed a sigh of relief. It seems Pengyun merchant ships hasn't changed. Stepping out of the reception room, I noticed something unusual as I passed the square. In the past, the square was a gathering place for many cultivators who would enjoy tea and wine and exchange cultivation experiences. Today, only a handful of people gathered in the square. As Qingyu passed by them, she overheard their conversation. Many cultivators have won big prizes in the Tower of Desire. I personally witnessed a cultivator draw the 8th tier reward, which allows them to go to the exchange tower and choose any item they want. Although the probability of getting the second level is low, it feels like it offers more potential profits than the first level. And if I were to draw the 10th tier reward? The 10th tier reward is the chance to choose any immortal grade item. It's not that easy to win. What if? Qingyu trembled, her face showing shock. Choose any celestial grade item. Qingyu clenched her fists secretly, a thought surfacing in her mind. If I want to obtain the heart of the river of suppression, perhaps I can only try here. He continued walking towards the exchange tower, his immediate priority being to exchange for healing pills. That Tower of Desire must be the black tower pattern on the Pengyun Token. Chapter 325 The City of Desire. The first batch of foreign cultivators. On the 7th floor of the exchange tower, Qingyu frowned slightly as she looked at the several blue orbs of light floating beside her. After checking the information, I held the crimson blood body in my hand. So these are the only few rare and precious healing herbs left. Qingyu muttered to himself. She knew perfectly well what was going on. It must have been exchanged by someone else. Starting from the 8th floor, most items have exchange restrictions. 7th tier treasures are the focus of everyone's resale. elixirs and rare treasures that can help cultivators break through bottlenecks in their cultivation. Treasures that can heal injuries, replenish their foundation, or even bring people back from the dead are the most valuable. Qingyu looked up. It seems that whether it's healing the ancestors' injuries or obtaining the heart of the river of suppression, I have to try going to that black tower. Qingyu thought to himself. He then activated the Pengyun Token and left the Pengyun space. After handing the crimson blood body to the ancestor, Qingyu activated the Pengyun Token again and disappeared. Watching Qingyu's departing figure, Wei Wuhe stroked the gemstone in his palm, which resembled blood jade, and murmured softly, "The child has grown up, it's time to let go." This time, he did not refuse Qingyu's kindness, nor did he ask Qingyu the purpose of her departure. "I just hope everything goes smoothly for this child." The City of Desire. Qingyu appeared on the altar, looking around the dark space with a hint of surprise in her eyes. As I reached out and brushed my hand across my body, wisps of gray mist swirled around my fingertips. Qingyu focused his mind and sensed it for a moment, then his expression turned serious. There is a special aura present that can stir one's mind. Possessing the myriad spirit sword body, it has an extremely keen perception of everything. Upon arriving in this unfamiliar space, Qingyu noticed something unusual. He raised his hand to look at the black tower that had disappeared into the gray mist, and stepped down with a determined expression. Luohe sect had no way out, and neither did she. This strange black tower might be their only chance. The excitement and joy I felt when I first saw the Zhongjie River Heart had long since disappeared. I originally thought that I could gather the Pengyun points I needed by reselling Pengyun merchant ship items. However, she was still too naive. The Pengyun points required for immortal grade items were far beyond what Luohe sect could possibly gather. In particular, the Pengyun merchant ship has restrictions on items of level 8 and above. It's unclear how long it would take to exchange items from the Pengyun merchant ship for immortal level items. As Qingyu passed the black stone house, she paused slightly and gave a slight bow to the unfamiliar old man. Stepping into the first floor, a dazzling golden light greets the eye, and cheers rise and fall in the air. Qingyu stared at what was happening before her, her mouth agape in shock. She was naturally familiar with the scene before her. She never expected that this eerie black tower would house a casino. It was completely unexpected. Slowly moving forward, I walked past the black stone gambling tables. "Isn't it supposed to be possible to draw immortal level items? It seems like we can only get Pengyun points here," Qingyu murmured. A dejected cultivator walked past her and happened to hear Qingyu's voice. He stopped in his tracks, pointing upwards. "Second floor, but I advise you to just win some Pengyun points on the first floor." The second floor. The cultivator didn't say much, but shook his head slightly. Qingyu cupped her hands in thanks. "Thank you." Without hesitation, he turned and walked towards the second floor. The cultivator watched her departing figure and thought, another one who doesn't believe in fate and dares to dream of winning a celestial level item. In fact, most cultivators know that immortal level items are not so easy to obtain. It's truly a gamble with one's life. Without spending tens of trillions of Pengyun points, you might not even see a shadow of a celestial level item. Many people believe that this is a gimmick created by Pengyun merchant ship, a way to attract cultivators to participate in a lottery, and that it is impossible to win a celestial level item. Of course, they only dared to imagine it in their hearts and dared not question Pengyun merchant ship. Therefore, apart from a few cultivators who wanted to try their luck on the second floor, most cultivators only earned some Pengyun points on the first floor. Their idea was simple. Press the bet twice a day on the first floor, and stop once you've earned 1,000 Pengyun points. At this rate of 1,000 Pengyun points per day, you can earn 10,000 Pengyun points in 10 days, and 100,000 Pengyun points in 100 days. This is where the cultivators can truly profit. If luck comes your way one day, you might win everything. As he pondered, the cultivator regained his composure, his eyes gleaming, and walked toward the gambling table next to him. Upon arriving on the second floor, Qingyu once again sensed the difference. The aura that stirs the minds of cultivators has become even stronger. Looking at the strange machines, Qingyu approached a cultivator with curiosity. The cultivator stared intently at the light screen in front of him, which was constantly flashing various patterns. Three already. The cultivator held his breath, his palms clenched tightly. A fourth one, there must be a fourth one. Finally, at the 7th position, the same pattern appeared on the light screen on the machine for the 4th time. The cultivator jumped up excitedly, his face full of excitement. I won the 4th prize! The cultivator shouted excitedly, drawing envious glances from those around him. Before he could calm down, the machine in front of him emitted a dazzling green light, and the cultivator froze, his eyes glazing out at the light screen. At this moment, there are 5 identical patterns on the screen. A broadcast voice rang in my ears. Congratulations, guest, you have won the 5th prize. You may proceed to the 5th floor of the exchange tower and choose any item. A 5th class reward, hee. It's actually a 5th class reward. The cultivator's face was filled with a foolish smile, unable to suppress the joy in his heart. He laughed loudly, looking up at the sky. Ha ha ha. This move aroused envy among those around them, their eyes gleaming with jealousy, before they buried themselves in their work and continued with the lottery draw. Qingyu, who had been standing quietly to the side, also understood. I see. So, if I want to draw a celestial level item, I need 10 of the same pattern. He then turned around and went to an empty machine, touched the Pengyun Token, and a dynamic piece of music started playing, and information appeared on the screen. After a quick glance, Qingyu officially began her lottery journey. At the same time, Pengyun merchant ship also officially welcomed its first batch of guests without Pengyun tokens. Standing on the waterway, looking at the huge ship that was faintly visible on the horizon, everyone felt that it was the end of this unknown waterway. One of the cultivators exclaimed in surprise. Look quickly, there's a similar waterway over there. Looking to both sides, everyone realized that there was more than one waterway like this. However, the thick fog obstructed their vision, making it difficult for them to see clearly. As they drew closer to the ship, some of the cultivators began to frown, a sense of familiarity seemingly piercing through the thick fog. Finally, one of the cultivators identified what it was, his face filled with shock, and he excitedly shouted to the crowd. Pengyun merchant ship. Chapter 326. Everyone rejoices. Indulging in desire. Once everyone reached the vast deck, they discovered that there were 9 waterways spanning the sky and the earth. At this moment, cultivators also arrived on the other waterways. Everyone looked on curiously. This was the first time they had ever actually come into contact with the Pengyun merchant ship. In the past, they had only seen it in the Starry Sky Mystery Report, or heard about it from other cultivators. Gradually, low murmurs of discussion arose on the ship. Pengyun merchant ship. Thank goodness I took the risk. I never expected to actually reach Pengyun merchant ship. Yes, if others knew, they would definitely regret it to death. We don't know what opportunities await us. There's a teleportation array here. We should go in from here. The crowd looked in the direction of the sound and rushed over instantly, causing hundreds of people to fall into chaos. In the space of desire, cultivators continuously appeared on the altar. Arriving at the square, I looked around at the unfamiliar space and looked up at the huge black tower. Someone asked in confusion, "This is different from what I've heard?" The other cultivators also looked puzzled. Although they had never been to Pengyun space, they were very familiar with everything about it. It is said that the inside is like a sacred place, and there is a 10-story tower containing endless treasures. But this oppressive, gloomy space didn't feel like a sacred place at all. The enormous black tower also gave off a strange feeling. There are people over there. Shall we go over and ask them? Everyone looked at Elder Xing, who had been standing not far away, smiling at them. The group walked forward and arrived at the black stone house. Excuse me, is this Pengyun space? Someone asked impatiently, voicing their doubts. Old Xing nodded with a smile. Exactly. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. It seemed they hadn't made a mistake coming here. As long as it was Pengyun space, there wouldn't be any problems. Only a small number of people remained vaguely uneasy. The subtle sense of oppression emanating from the surrounding space gave them a bad feeling. But most people clearly no longer care about these things and are starting to anxiously ask where the opportunity lies. Elder Xing pointed to the Black Tower. The opportunity lies inside. Then, pointing outside, he said, as those who arrived first, you have the right to choose your shops first. The crowd looked at each other, puzzled, and turned to Elder Xing. Old Master Xing explained, you can manage the outer rooms yourselves. After hearing what Elder Xing said, everyone was excited, never expecting that they could choose a shop for free in Pengyun space. In any case, even if we are eliminated 100 years from now, we can still live here for free for 100 years. Moreover, they might even be able to resell Pengyun merchant ships' real estate. Everyone started asking questions all at once. Is it really free? Are there any other restrictions? Can I bring my whole family to reserve a spot? Can I sell the house to someone else? Can I live on Pengyun merchant ship for 100 years indefinitely? Old Master Xing listened quietly to everyone's questions, and after a long while, he slowly nodded. He said with a smile, you can do whatever you want. You can resell houses, run any business, or live here for free for 100 years. As the first ones there, you even have the right to choose the best spots and then sell them to others. Pengyun merchant ship is responsible only to Black Tower and does not care about outsiders. If you are deceived or ambushed, Pengyun will not care. Everyone's expression tightened, and they immediately became wary of each other. Someone cautiously asked, I remember Pengyun merchant ship protects customer privacy by using fog to conceal everyone's figures, right? Only then did everyone realize, oh right, weren't we supposed to use fog to ensure everyone's safety? Everyone looked at the old man in front of them. Elder Xing smiled and said, that's true, but this space is not under the protection of the Pengyun merchant ship unless you have a Pengyun token. This space. Everyone's expressions tightened. This was indeed not the legendary Pengyun space. But one monk couldn't resist stepping forward to ask, I want to choose a house, how do I do that? Elder Xing opened his palm, and a phantom black token appeared in his palm. The moment the token appeared, some cultivators' eyes widened in surprise. They seemed to have seen the token before. Within the grey mist outside, they felt as if they had discovered something important. Some people's eyes darted around, but they didn't say anything. The Black Tower token is your pass to this space. The Black Tower token cannot be bound. Old Xing pointed behind him, and everyone then discovered that there were 10 strange machines there. That's where you exchange items. You can convert items into Pengyun points, and you can also convert Pengyun points into spirit stones. He then pointed to the Black Tower. Once you have the Pengyun points, you will be able to enter the Black Tower. The other cultivators were puzzled, as there was no explanation of how to own a shop. What about the shop? A cultivator asked cautiously. Go there on your own, and bind your soul to the suitable one you find. Everyone immediately sprang into action, running outside, hoping that if they could secure a shop in a prime location, they could potentially make a large sum of money later. Old Master Xing's gentle reminder drifted into everyone's ears. Do not indulge in desires, and always remember to act within your means. A few people stopped and looked at the smiling old man. But more cultivators rushed to the perimeter of the square, occupying all the shops in good locations. They were smart people, of course. The best located shops were definitely those houses closest to the Black Tower. When someone arrived at a building near the Black Tower, they were surprised to find that they could not bind their consciousness to it. Someone is even faster than us. He immediately realized. It must be those who possess the Pengyun token. They were extremely envious of the cultivators who possessed the Pengyun token. A few people did not choose a house, but instead came to Elder Xing, received the Black Tower token, and went to exchange it for Pengyun points. Zhou Yun received a message the moment everyone was redeeming Pengyun points. Oh, someone's here so soon? Zhou Yun smiled. To the first batch of cultivators who have entered, I hope you will fully appreciate the wonders of desire. Desire is not terrible. If a cultivator can seize an opportunity in the Tower of Desire, he will surely be able to defy fate. In the Black Stone House, Elder Xing quietly observed everyone's actions. There were some things he didn't explain clearly, only offering slight reminders. Have humans remained so greedy after millions of years? Elder Xing had witnessed it all. This time, humanity's sword will ultimately be turned against itself. The City of Desire is a place without restraint. Apart from the Black Tower, cultivators can do whatever they want. Although the Master has restricted everyone's cultivation, strange methods are constantly emerging in the cultivation world. They have no ability, yet they occupy such a good position. It's probably going to be very difficult to save it. The houses in Pengyun space are not so easy to occupy. Chapter 327 The Noble Pengyun Token, The Fallen Five Elements Tao Ancestor. The first group of cultivators finally stepped into the Tower of Desire, their faces illuminated by the golden light, and they were all filled with excitement. It was as if I could already see myself about to explode with gold coins from the Pengyun merchant ship. Looking at the figure shrouded in grey mist, his eyes were filled with intense jealousy. One of the cultivators muttered, "I should have used a disguise technique to change my appearance." The others nodded thoughtfully. The Pengyun space restricts the strength of cultivators, so if they change their appearance slightly, they don't have to worry about being noticed by others. Some cautious monks immediately withdrew. The situation immediately attracted the attention of the other cultivators. After all, it was quite unusual for a group of people with no cover to appear among them. A murmur arose from the crowd. It seems the City of Desire has opened to the public. Look at how silly these people are. They're just staring blankly. Indeed, we are the esteemed owners of the Pengyun Token. How can these people compare to us? I think I'll change my position. These people can't even get the Pengyun Token, so I don't want them to pass on their bad luck. A sense of exclusion emerged, and the owners of the Pengyun Token gradually gathered together, disdaining to associate with outsiders. Hearing their complaints, the others also looked indignant. The two sides immediately started arguing. So what if you have the Pengyun Token? Bah! I look down on you guys. You don't even have a Pengyun Token. Come here, I'll beat you to death. I'm right here, go ahead and hit me. Yu Linglong frowned slightly as she looked at the two sides arguing incessantly. She raised her arm and waved it lightly, suppressing everyone. He then reported the situation to Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun was surprised to hear the news. The City of Desire opened hastily, and many things were indeed not perfect, but he never expected that people would quarrel about it. Zhou Yun pondered for a moment, but did not intend to change the situation. Just warn them not to cause trouble. Zhou Yun narrowed his eyes and sent the message to Yu Linglong. This situation might be good for Pengyun merchant ships. He wanted to tell all cultivators that possessing the Pengyun Token made them superior. If they come to this City of Desire seeking fairness, then they've come to the wrong place. If you want to be respected, then work even harder and search even more diligently for the Pengyun Token. As the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship, he naturally couldn't downplay the value of the Pengyun Token. Instead, he had to increase its value. On the other side, Yu Linglong's face showed a hint of surprise after receiving Zhou Yun's message. The cultivators suppressed below were filled with remorse. They forgot that this was the Pengyun merchant ship, a place where they could act recklessly. Everyone was filled with fear. Yu Linglong waved her hand to release the power that was suppressing everyone, and her gaze swept over them. No trouble. Everyone was somewhat surprised that there was no punishment. Everyone here is smart, and everyone has figured it out. Pengyun merchant ships is on the side of those who own Pengyun tokens. These foreign monks, like defeated roosters, became dejected. Wouldn't it be better to be punished? Humph, now you know, having the Pengyun token is amazing. The two sides separated and sat down at different gambling tables. Yu Linglong shook her head, unable to understand her master's thoughts. This matter clearly didn't need to be resolved this way. It's entirely possible to shroud everyone in grey fog. Meanwhile outside, as soon as Pengyun emerged, he received a message from his subordinates. The eastern region. It seems that Pengyun merchant ships has chosen the eastern region as its location. He immediately summoned all his disciples to assemble. Oh dear, what's going on? Why is there such a big movement all of a sudden? Could it be that our Qihuang mountain is about to be reborn? Is that the goddess? The divine phoenix body is truly powerful, possessing strength comparable to the ancestor. You were in seclusion before, weren't you? Now you have to call her ancestor Huangyan. On the high platform, Phoenix Cloud Divine Phoenix sat in the middle, with Phoenix Flame and Phoenix Smoke sitting behind her respectively. Pengyun looked at Pengyun. Ancestor, why don't you explain? You know more about Pengyun merchant ship. Pengyun slowly got up and walked to the front. Pengyun has been born and is now in the eastern region. My Qihuang mountain can no longer remain in seclusion. The purpose of this gathering is to send everyone to Pengyun to seize this opportunity. This was not a hasty decision. Everyone had been discussing it after Huangyan awakened the divine phoenix body. The fragmented memories brought by the great thousand mirror heart were too terrifying. They never imagined that Qihuang mountain would be destroyed. Qihuang mountain must change, and Pengyun merchant ship is where the opportunity lies. The creatures below were shocked, never expecting that this guess was actually true. Qihuang mountain is no longer a recluse. Central region, myriad manifestations, heavenly palace. Inside the main hall, the five elements Tao ancestor, who was usually high and mighty, was now prostrate on the ground, while Fairy Sia was being held and played with by the man sitting on the high platform. At this moment, the five elements Tao ancestor's aura was weak and his face was pale, as if he had suffered a great injury. My lords, an unusual phenomenon has appeared in the eastern region. According to the information gathered by your servants, it is likely the Pengyun merchant ship. Xue Ming raised his eyes and looked down at the people below. Is that the Pengyun merchant ship that caused the strange celestial phenomenon? We've finally found its trail. What are your thoughts? Should we send the message back, or continue investigating? Xue Ming looked at the enchantress and the bone. The alluring woman lightly bit her finger with her red lips, letting out a silvery laugh. Brother Xue Ming has found a good toy. I think this old man is quite nice, and I want to stay a while longer. Xue Ming glanced at the five elements Tao ancestor below. An old man of such advanced age eats this? Aren't you afraid of rotting your teeth? The alluring woman smiled sweetly. It's not like I'm eating with my teeth. Oh, what will you eat then? This old guy's bones are really tough. Oh dear. You're so annoying, Brother Xue Ming. Upon hearing the words from above, the five elements Tao ancestor's face turned ashen, and a bitter smile flashed in his eyes. Is this karma? He didn't believe in cause and effect, but now he does. Whitebone glanced at the two flirting and said, Then I'll go back and pass the message on to the heavenly venerable. You two should restrain yourselves. That Pengyun merchant ship is not simple. Xue Ming smiled and said, Then thank you very much, Brother Baigu. The three of them then disappeared from the main hall. The five elements Tao ancestor secretly glanced at Shiyu's disappearing figure, his expression somber. My vital spiritual root was forcibly destroyed just like that. His cultivation level has now declined, and his foundation is unstable. It was all caused by these three people in front of us. These extraterrestrials are truly hateful. Xiu is essentially his external body. If he doesn't sever the connection, he will also, when the other party is enjoying themselves. Now, with a restriction planted in his body, his life is over. The extraterrestrials arrived too quickly. He was not prepared at all. The once mighty number one power in Shention has been reduced to a vassal state of someone else. It's truly laughable. Chapter 328 The Grey Mist Opportunity. The hunt begins. As more and more cultivators received the news, they gathered at the eastern border. I want to seize this opportunity. Why haven't those people come back yet? Could they have died inside? Who knows? Anyway, the eastern region is getting more and more bizarre. Let's just wait patiently. I imagine those powerful forces have also received news of the power and will definitely go to investigate. Yes, we just need to follow behind them. Everyone looked towards the eastern region shrouded in grey fog, and even though they were very curious, they still did not have the courage to enter. Just as everyone was discussing, a giant treasure ship appeared on the horizon and went straight into the grey fog. Everyone looked up and saw that the broken trace of grey mist was slowly healing. Did you see clearly? Which force was that just now? Before anyone could reply, a loud phoenix cry rang out in the void, and the surrounding temperature rose sharply. However, the grey mist that should have been evaporated remained silent. A giant fire phoenix emerged from the void, its wings flapping, stirring up a fierce gale, and transformed into a crimson streak of light as it plunged into the grey mist. Everyone looked up at the remaining crimson flames in the void, their mouths agape in shock. This time they knew which force had come. The iconic fire phoenix design clearly indicates that this is Qihuang Mountain. This is the Shen Tian Hidden World Force, with a celestial-level expert in charge. Even they have come. What kind of opportunity has appeared in the eastern region? Their eyes gleamed, and they suppressed their curiosity, deciding to wait a little longer. After all, the other side was led by a celestial-level expert. How can they compare? Perhaps a small accident could easily take their lives. Before the shock on everyone's faces had subsided, another stream of light entered the grey mist. In the grey mist, Xue Ming held Xiu in his arms, his brows slightly furrowed. This Pengyun merchant ship is indeed extraordinary. Even my divine sense was suppressed by this grey mist. The enchantress beside her also unusually put away her smile, her expression becoming exceptionally cautious as she reached out to brush away the mist in front of her. To attract the attention of the Heavenly Lord, one must possess extraordinary qualities. They were sent by the Celestial Venerable to gather information in the Shen Tian cultivation realm. They wouldn't normally pay any attention to such a lower realm, but a strange Pengyun merchant ship inexplicably appeared. They initially disbelieved the information circulating about the Pengyun merchant ship, thinking themselves ignorant people from the lower realm. But now, having experienced it firsthand, they have come to appreciate the wonders of the Pengyun merchant ship. Let's go. I'm getting more and more curious about this Pengyun merchant ship. Xue Ming put his big arm around Xiu and gave her a big squeeze. Xiu looked pained, but leaned against the other person's chest with a numb expression. Xiu's heart had long since died. As for whether this man was the Five Elements Dao ancestor, senior brother Wanxiong, or Xue Ming, what difference did it make? A seductive woman beside him smiled alluringly. The group transformed into streaks of light and headed deep into the eastern region. People outside the city were in an uproar, their curiosity becoming uncontrollable. What incredible opportunity could there be? So many big shots have entered. Why don't we go in too? Otherwise, there might not be any soup left. Should we go in directly, or take the waterway? Yes, what exactly is the difference? After discussing it for a while, no conclusion was reached. Some people followed in the footsteps of the big shots and rushed directly into the grey fog. Some followed the example of those who had entered before them and embarked on that waterway leading to the unknown. After all, in their view, there was clearly a way to go, so they naturally wouldn't risk entering that grey fog. Danger lurks everywhere in the eastern region. Venturing in rashly could lead to unexpected encounters at any moment. The patriarch of the Mu family stood at the bow of the boat, warily surveying his surroundings. The eastern region is inherently dangerous. As a battlefield left over from millions of years ago, it is filled with spatial turbulence. If one is not careful, one may suffer severe damage. He was naturally not afraid, but there were many younger people on the ship. The further we go in, the denser the grey fog becomes, and the stronger its suppression of divine sense becomes, Mu Jinbao muttered to himself. Suddenly, Mu Qingyun ran over from a distance and handed a phantom black token to him. Ancestor, this was found by our clansman in the grey fog. We don't know what it is. Mu Jinbao's gaze fell on the token, and he immediately looked shocked, snatching the token away. After examining it carefully for a moment, he said, "That's right, it's the Black Tower token, but what does this 100,000 mean?" Mu Qingyun asked, "Ancestor, what is this token?" Stroking the token, Mu Jinbao looked at the young man in front of him and told him what he knew. Mu Qingyun suddenly realized what was happening and then looked up at the boundless sea. "Ancestor, do you think the Pengyun merchant ship might have dropped a large number of tokens into this grey fog?" Mu Jinbao looked slightly taken aback, then nodded. "That is indeed possible. Should we?" But before he could finish speaking, Mu Jinbao interrupted him. "No need. If I'm not mistaken, the numbers on this token represent Pengyun points." Mu Jinbao looked at the grey mist and said, "These opportunities are not prepared for us, but for those low-level cultivators. Even if we find 100 million Pengyun points, it will be of no use to my Mu family." "Yes, the ancestor is indeed very thoughtful." Mu Qingyun nodded in agreement. "Our opportunity lies within the Pengyun merchant ship. Managing that shop well is what our Mu family should do." "Yes, Qingyun will remember." Mu Qingyun replied respectfully. There was naturally no doubt about the ancestor's decision. The Mu family's opportunity lies in the Pengyun space, not in this grey fog. They must travel to the City of Desire as soon as possible, open the shop, and deeply imprint its image on the hearts of every cultivator to seize the initiative. At the same time, the other cultivators who entered the grey fog also found the Black Tower token. "What is this? It feels very strange, and there are numbers on the back." "Let me see it." "No, this might be a treasure." "It's just a broken token, it's not a precious treasure at all." Although most of the people were complaining, they gradually dispersed and began to search for the mysterious black token. They might not know what a token is. However, they felt it might be related to the place of opportunity they were about to enter, or even a pass to the ruins. Everyone guessed wrong, yet they also guessed right. That wasn't a pass to enter the ruins, but a pass for the Pengyun merchant ship. The difficulty of finding a phantom black token while one's divine sense is suppressed is unimaginable. Gradually, some people began to have different thoughts. At no time is it as convenient or quick to find something yourself as to directly seize the achievements of others. Puff! A monk's head was severed, and his blood spurted out, flowing into the seawater and slowly staining it. He picked up the storage bag from the other person and quietly disappeared into the grey mist. This hunt, triggered by the Black Tower Order, gradually unfolded in the eastern region. A thick, pungent smell of blood permeated the grey fog, and the blood seeped into the land of the eastern region. Chapter 329: A fortuitous encounter with Xiu. Finally gaining freedom. Within the City of Desire, numerous newly arrived cultivators surveyed this unfamiliar environment. Their faces were filled with excitement and anticipation. They had never imagined that this journey to the unknown would lead to the Pengyun merchant ship. Xueming looked up at the black giant tower. She murmured softly, "Is this the Pengyun merchant ship? It is indeed extraordinary." The enchantress nodded solemnly. "Here our strength is completely suppressed." Xiu, held in Xueming's arms, showed a slight change in expression, a strange light flashing in her usually numb and bewildered eyes. I looked up and surveyed this unfamiliar grey fog space. The moment she entered, the restriction that Xueming had placed on her body dimmed. Of course, it didn't disappear, but the other party could no longer control her at will. "Perhaps this is where I can find my freedom," Xiu thought to herself, her body trembling slightly from the excitement of the type of calamity. Xueming brushed Xiu's cheek. "Baby, what's wrong?" Xiu shoved Xueming away, took a few steps back, and greedily inhaled the air. What would be an incredibly oppressive environment for others, Xiu felt a sense of freedom. Freedom is the most precious thing to Xie. From the moment he began cultivating, He was controlled by the 5 elements Tao ancestor and never had control over his own body. Her body felt as if it never belonged to her. What's wrong with you? Xue Ming's face was gloomy, and he looked at the woman in front of him with hostility. This usually obedient and docile woman suddenly went mad, which startled him. The enchanting woman to the side seemed lost in thought, her gaze sweeping over Xiu. That silly woman. It seems she really seized the opportunity. That's quite an achievement. Xiu ignored Xue Ming and lifted her foot to tentatively take a step forward, but the moment her foot touched the ground, tears silently streamed down her face. I'm not a puppet anymore, I can move freely. She walked slowly forward, her pace gradually quickening, like a graceful elf. This beautiful scene naturally attracted the attention of the other cultivators, who saw the girl with a pure smile, who looked like an elf. Those stiff steps became the most moving dance moves in their eyes. It's Fairy Xie, someone exclaimed. The others also realized what was happening and exclaimed in gruff voices. Fairy Xie, no wonder you are so beautiful, even more captivating than the catalogues in the Wanbao Pavilion. It's so beautiful, I was captivated at first glance. Suddenly the crowd, their faces contorted with anger, shouted, "Hey, you scoundrel, get your hands off her! How dare you defile Fairy Xie!" Xue Ming grabbed Xiu's hand and stared at her with icy eyes. At this moment, he also noticed the abnormality. The restriction he had placed inside Xiu's body had failed. Damn it! Xue Ming cursed inwardly, knowing that this strange space was the culprit behind everything. You! Just as he was about to warn Xiu, a roar came from behind him, and a group of people rushed towards him. Upon seeing this, the enchantress smiled and wisely stood at a distance, quietly watching the show. The crowd reached out and forcibly dragged Xue Ming away from Xiu. Someone stepped in front of Xiu, gently comforting her. "Fairy Xiu, don't be afraid, we will protect you." A warm feeling rose in Xiu's heart. This was the first time she had ever sensed genuine kindness from someone else. She said in a weaker tone, "Xiu thanks all fellow Taoists." The voice was like the gentlest breeze, brushing past their ears, and the faces of the many cultivators turned red with excitement. He then looked at Xue Ming with hostility. Bloodlust surged within him, and an unprecedented sense of humiliation rose from the depths of his heart. If they were outside, he could kill these cultivators with a single palm strike, but inside the Pengyun merchant ship, he was no different from ordinary mortals. His cold gaze was fixed on Xiu. "Xiu, you need to think this through. You can't stay here forever. You know the consequences once you leave the Pengyun merchant ship." The other party's words had no effect on Xiu, who remained remarkably calm. What the consequences are doesn't matter anymore. Being able to enjoy a moment of freedom here is the most luxurious thing I've ever had in my life, Xiu thought to herself. Seeing that Xiu remained unmoved, Xue Ming's face turned angry. "You slut, get down at my feet right now, and I'll give you one last chance." As soon as Xue Ming finished speaking, he was surrounded by crimson eyes staring intently at him. Someone rushed out first, roaring, "Kill this shameless person! How dare you insult Fairy Xie! Everyone, attack together!" Bang bang bang. The sounds of punches and kicks rang out as Xue Ming and the others gathered together. However, he could hardly hold off hundreds of people on his own and quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. Although his physical strength was such that he did not suffer serious injuries, the sense of humiliation he experienced was far more severe. "Enough, you bunch of sycophants!" Blood Demon roared. "All you're protecting is a whore who can be trampled on at will. Kill him." I won't listen, what you're saying is false." Sometimes the truth doesn't matter. There are many rumors about Fairy Xie in the Shention cultivation world. At this moment, all they want to do is protect the beautiful scenery before them. Whether the rumors about Fairy Xie are true or not, they don't care. At least her beauty is real, and everyone can see it. And this person actually touched this beauty with lewd hands. That is the original sin. Because none of them had ever touched it. In the distance, the enchantress, who had been watching the spectacle, covered her mouth and chuckled as she saw Xue Ming's disheveled appearance. His gaze swept over Xiu, who stood there looking pitiful. You've seized the opportunity. Perhaps you've already won the moment you stepped onto the Pengyun merchant ship. The enchantress gazed at the colossal black tower disappearing into the grey mist. May you gain true freedom in the future. She naturally knew about Xiu's situation. She was just a pitiful woman with no freedom whatsoever. He stepped into the black stone house and looked at the old man in front of him. The enchanting woman nodded gently. This is the Pengyun merchant ship. Could you tell me about it? Mr. Xing still wore a kind and natural smile. His expression never changed, no matter who he was facing. He took out a black tower token and handed it to the enchantress, then introduced her to the information about this space. Oh, is this black tower the place of opportunity? Curiosity flickered in the enchantress's eyes as she stepped towards the place where Pengyun points could be exchanged. He inserted the black tower token into his hand and then began taking out items from his person. Meanwhile, the conflict on the other side also came to an end. Xue Ming watched Xiu's departing figure with resentment, his hands clenching tightly. Don't think you can escape my grasp unless you stay on the Pengyun merchant ship forever. He then turned and walked towards the enchantress. He knew that he had no way to deal with Xiu in the Pengyun space. Chapter 330 Tenfold Enhancement, Coral of the Sea of Desire. On the other side, Zhou Yun suddenly received a large number of messages from the back end, and after opening them to view them, a smile appeared on his face. It seems that more cultivators have arrived, and this time it seems that a very important person has come. As Zhou Yun glanced at the rare items while scanning through a list of information, a look of surprise flashed across his face. Star crystal core, space stabilizing stone, star sand. Zhou Yun sensed that these things were not something the Xian Tian cultivation world could possess, and after checking the information, his guess was indeed correct. These things can only be born in the void universe. A treasure born from the void. I wonder who redeemed it. Holding the star crystal core in his hand, Zhou Yun looked down at the core in his palm, where it seemed as if endless nebulae were flowing inside. Strengthen. Instantly, golden light rose from his palm, enveloping the entire star crystal core. A moment later, the golden light dissipated, and Xiaobai's voice rang in my ears. Congratulations, Master, on completing the quadruple enhancement and obtaining the 9th grade low-level treasure, the star crystal core. Zhou Yun frowned slightly. No transformation? Only the level has increased. Feeling the rich life force emanating from inside the crystal core, Zhou Yun opened the message. Item: Star Crystal Core. Type: Energy Source. Rank: 9th grade, low grade. Effects: The foundation of creation. When placed in a secret realm or grotto heaven, it can cultivate a small grotto heaven world, which inherently contains stars and spatial rules. Eternal power. It can stabilize space and continuously gather the power of stars to provide energy for holy sites, formations, weapons, etc. Myriad starry sky. Comes with its own formation, and when energy is sufficient, it can withstand attacks from immortal-level powerhouses. Details: the core left behind after a star shattered. Extremely precious. Zhou Yun tossed the star crystal core in his hand and nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. The Pengyun merchant ship is quite lacking in treasures such as stars, space, and time. Although it wasn't upgraded to the immortal level, it can at least fill the gap in the variety of items on the Pengyun merchant ship. Then Zhou Yun enhanced all the other items. Xiaobai's notification sounds kept coming to my ears. Congratulations, Master, on completing the tenfold enhancement and obtaining the innate treasure myriad stars returning to ruined soil. Congratulations, Master, on completing the tenfold enhancement and obtaining the innate treasure desire sea coral. The 2 consecutive tenfold enhancements instantly energized Zhou Yun, and his gaze swept over the other items before landing on the 2 innate treasures. We've been incredibly lucky this time. As the Pengyun merchant ship has grown, the number of items above the immortal level is starting to run out. These 2 celestial grade items arrived just in time. Zhou Yun looked at the soil that floated in front of him, like a world in itself. The deep black soil seemed to absorb all light. Zhou Yun reached out and held it, only then did he truly feel its weight, as if he were dragging a real world along with him. Click to view the information. Item: The Ruins of 10,000 Stars. Type: Original Class. Rank: Mid-grade Innate Treasure. Effects: Nurturing Star Gods. Cultivators can use the myriad stars returning to ruined soil to have a high probability of undergoing a transformation, nurturing an extremely powerful star-like physique, which can make cultivation and comprehension of star laws twice as effective. Reverse Star can forcibly bring a dying star back to life. Details: The Ruins of Myriad Stars is the condensed essence of stars after their destruction. It is a sacred object that carries the destiny of the stars. The effects are quite powerful, but I wonder if it can fetch a good price at auction, Zhou Yun pondered to himself. In the Xiuxian cultivation world, there are no conditions for cultivating the laws of planets and stars, so this item is useless to Zhou Yun. Just like the Yin-Yang immortal before him, if he hadn't taken action to depose the palace master of myriad manifestations, leaving an empty immortal position in the Xiuxian cultivation world. The Yin-Yang immortal essence was still considered useless by the other cultivators. He shook his head, stopped thinking about it, and his gaze fell on another item. Within a cluster of 7-colored light, a vast coral forest was enveloped, with corals of various colors rooted in the void, and strange colors flowing within the dark red base. A slight touch can pull a person into an ocean of desire. This thing seems quite suitable for placement within the City of Desire, which would lighten Yuan Shi's burden. Zhou Yun gazed at the floating ball of light in front of him, pondering to himself. This ball of light doesn't resemble a coral forest. It's simply a constricted area within it. If it were to unfold, that would reveal the interior. Let's see how it goes first. Zhou Yun clicked on the details. Item: Desire Coral. Type: Original Class. Rank: Superior Innate Treasure. Effects: Nurturing the Desire God. After maturing, the Desire Sea Coral has a certain chance of giving birth to a deity, that is, a spirit that controls desire. The Realm of Desire. It arouses the desires within living beings and uses these desires as a thread to transfer the cause and effect of others. Civilizational Guidance. Desire can destroy a civilization, or it can shape one. Details: Desire is a terrible thing. When we try to control it, we should also hold a sense of awe for it in our hearts. As Zhou Yun reached out and brushed his hand across the 7-colored ball of light, he felt even more strongly that this thing was extremely suitable for the City of Desire. It seems we are destined to be together. With a flick of his sleeve, the ball of light pierced through the void and vanished as a stream of light. Zhou Yun stretched and threw all the enhanced items into the exchange tower. At this moment, the role of the City of Desire slowly became apparent. In the past, he could only obtain item enhancements from cultivators who possessed the Pengyun Token, but cultivators who possessed the Pengyun Token only had a few hundred points. With the opening of the Pengyun merchant ship to the outside world, cultivators from the entire Xiuxian cultivation world will flock to it, and the Pengyun merchant ship will never lack goods again. Even if the items that the cultivators came to exchange were of relatively low level. However, as long as the quantity increases, he can always achieve a tenfold increase in strength several times. As Zhou Yun pondered the development of Pengyun, a dazzling 7-colored light suddenly burst forth in the sky above the City of Desire. The cultivators present all looked up, squinting their eyes. A bright light suddenly appeared in the dim space, making them slightly uncomfortable. What is that above? Why does this light make me so restless? I can't watch anymore, my head hurts so much. Most of the cultivators closed their eyes, but even with their eyes closed, the light seemed to penetrate their bodies and shine into their souls. Ha ha ha, hee hee hee. Ah, let's have some fun together. This treasure is mine, you all deserve to die. All the cultivators were in a state of madness and frenzy, their faces etched with silly grins. Only those undergoing tribulation can barely withstand it. Immortal-level experts are unaffected. Feng Yan and Mu Jinbao looked solemnly into the void. Blood Demon and Enchantress, who were just about to enter the Black Tower, looked somewhat puzzled. Xue Ming whispered, "Why does this thing feel so familiar?" "Yes, it's remarkably similar to the aura of that sea of desire in the void." The Enchantress nodded. She licked her lips, her eyes filled with an uncontrollable heat and desire. This thing held an extreme attraction for her. If she could obtain this treasure, her cultivation level could be raised to another level.